Rama Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Kalasanji Radha Kalasanji Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Shamasundar Radha Shamasundar Shri Radhe Shamasundar Shri Radhe Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Radha Kalashanji ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Sarasvatim Vyasam Tachodayam Madirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer the respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and to Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Nanda-braja sabreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamasloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in the classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering a service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart is almost completely destroyed. In service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental sounds is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyantimarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranvitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes in the torchlight of knowledge. I offer respectful obeisances unto them. Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's jump to chapter 1 of Canto 7. We'll get right into text 1. We'll be doing 12 verses here, and then we'll jump to verse 9. Go ahead, Dustin, please.
Text 1. King Parikshit inquired, "My dear Brahmana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, being everyone's well-wisher, is equal and extremely dear to everyone. How then did he become partial like a common man for the sake of Indra, and thus kill Indra's enemies? How can a person equal to everyone be partial to some and inimical towards others?"
Lord Vishnu himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the reservoir of all pleasure. Therefore, what benefit would he derive from siding with the demigods? What interest would he fulfill in this way? Since the Lord is transcendental, why should he fear the asuras, and how could he be envious of them?
O greatly fortunate and learned Brahmana, whether Narayan is partial or impartial has become a subject of great doubt. Kindly dispel my doubt with positive evidence that Narayan is always neutral and equal to everyone.
This reminds me of when you have brothers and sisters. At least this was part of my mom and dad love me more than you. No, mom and dad love me. But if you ask mom and dad, who do they love more? They'll tell you, we love all of our children the same, right? But still the argument remains. Okay, go ahead, 4-5.
Text 4-5. The great sage Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, you have put before me an excellent question. Discourses concerning the activities of the Lord, in which the glories of his devotees are also found, are extremely pleasing to the devotees. Such wonderful topics always counteract the miseries of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, great sages like Narada always speak upon Srimad Bhagavatam because it gives one the facility to hear and chant about the wonderful activities of the Lord. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva and then begin describing topics concerning the activities of Lord Hari."
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is always transcendental to material qualities, and therefore he is called nirguna, or without qualities. Because he is unborn, he does not have a material body to be subject to attachment and hatred. Although the Lord is always above material existence through the spiritual potency, he appeared and acted like an ordinary human being, accepting duties and obligations apparently like a conditioned soul.
My dear King Parikshit, the material qualities Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna all belong to the material world and do not even touch the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These three gunas cannot act by increasing or decreasing simultaneously.
When the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish, with the help of that quality, with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish, and when ignorance is prominent, the yakshas and rakshasas flourish. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart, fostering the reactions of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna.
The all-pervading personality of Godhead exists within the heart of every living being, and an expert thinker can perceive how he is present there to a large or small extent. Just as one can understand the supply of fire in wood, the water in water pot, or the sky within the pot, one can understand whether a living entity is a demon or demigod by understanding that living entity's devotional performances. A thoughtful man can understand how much person is favored by the Supreme Lord by seeing his actions.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead creates different types of bodies, offering a particular body to each living entity according to his character and fruitive actions, the Lord revives all the qualities of material nature, Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna. Then, as the Supersoul, he enters each body and influences the qualities of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, using sattva guna for maintenance, rajaguna for creation, and tamoguna for annihilation.
O great King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of the material and spiritual energies, who is certainly the creator of the entire cosmos, creates the time factor to allow the material energy and the living entity to act within the limits of time. Thus, the Supreme Personality is never under the time factor, nor under the material energy.
We got one more. 1 through 12, please.
Okay, this time factor enhances the sattva guna. Thus, although the Supreme Lord is the controller, he favors the demigods, who are mostly situated in sattva guna. Then, the demons who are influenced by the tamoguna are annihilated. The Supreme Lord induces the time factor to act in different ways, but he is never partial. Rather, his activities are glorious, and therefore, he is called Urushrava.
Okay, let's go to text 9, please. Please, yes. Thank you. Jyotiradir ivabati. Jyotiradir ivabati. Sangyatyana vivyachate. Sangyatana vivishate. Vidyantyatmanam atmastyam. Vidyantya atmanam atmastyam. Matitva kavyo natataha. Matitva kavyo natyata. Jyotiradir vabati. Sangyatyana vivirchate. Vidyantyatmanam atmasyam. Matitva kavyo natyata. Bolo. Jyotiradir vabati. Sangyatyana vivichate. Vidyantyatmanam atmastyam. Matitva kavyo nataha. Jyotiradir vabati. Sangyatana vivichate. Vidyantyatmanam atmasam. Madvitya kavyo nityaha. Anybody else? Don't be shy. One more. Jyotiradir vabati. Sangyatana vivichate. Vidyanti atmanam atmasyam. Matitva kavyo nataha. Okay, word for word all together, please. Jyotihi, fire. Adihi, and other elements. Iva, just as. Abhyati, appear. Sangyatyat, from the bodies of the demigods and others. Na, not. Vivichyate, are distinguished. Vidyanti, perceived. Atmana, the super soul. Atmastyam, situated in the heart. Matitva, by discerning. Kavya, expert thinkers. Antyatya, within. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The all-pervading personality of Godhead exists within the heart of every living being, and an expert thinker can perceive how He is present there to a large or small extent. Just as one can understand the supply of fire and wood, the water in a water pot, and a sky, or the sky within a pot, one can understand whether a living entity is a demon or a demigod by understanding the living entity's devotional performances. A thoughtful man can understand how much a person is favored by the Supreme Lord by seeing his actions. Please repeat. The all-pervading personality of Godhead exists within the heart of every living entity, being. An expert thinker can perceive how He is present there to a large or small extent. Just as one can understand the supply of fire and wood, the water in a water pot, or the sky within a pot, one can understand whether a living entity is a demon or a demigod by understanding the living entity's devotional performances. What the heck? I'm sorry, whoa. Sorry, okay. A thoughtful man can understand how much a person is favored. A thoughtful man can understand how much a person is favored by the Supreme Lord by seeing His actions. We had technical difficulties for a second. Excuse me. Okay, this is a very, not a very long purport, but a long purport. So while we read through it, please, each person, think about something in this purport that's specifically for them impressive. And then when we're done with the purport, I'm actually going to ask you guys to share what is it in this purport that is impressed upon you. Okay? Okay. In Bhagavad Gita 10:41, the Lord says, Yad yad vibhutitma sattvam Srimad urchitam evava tata riva gacha tavam mama tejo misa sambhavanam. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. We have the particular experience of seeing that one person is able to do very wonderful things, whereas another cannot do the same things and cannot even do things that require only a little common sense. Therefore, how much a devotee has been favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be tested by the activities the devotee has performed. In Bhagavad Gita 10:10, the Lord says, Tesham satyat uktanam bhajantyam priti purvakam dadyami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayante te yapanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and who worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. This is very practical. The teacher instructs the students if the student is capable of taking more and more instruction. Otherwise, in spite of being instructed by the teacher, the student cannot make strides in his understanding. This has nothing to do with partiality. When Krishna says, Tisham satyatyam uktananam bhajatyam priti purvakam dadyami buddhi yogam tam, that indicates that Krishna is prepared to give bhakti yoga to everyone, but one must be capable of receiving it. That is the secret. Thus, when a person exhibits wonderful devotional activities, a thoughtful man understands that Krishna has been more favorable to his devotee. This is not difficult to understand, but envious persons do not accept that Krishna has bestowed his favor upon a particular devotee in accordance with his advanced position. Such foolish persons become envious and try to minimize the advanced devotee's activities. That is not Vaishnavism. A Vaishnav should appreciate the service rendered to the Lord by other Vaishnavas. Therefore, a Vaishnava is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as Nirmatsyara. Vaishnavas are never envious of other Vaishnavas or of anyone else, and therefore they are called Nirmatsaranam Satyam. As Bhagavad Gita informs us, one can understand how one is saturated with Sattvagun, Rajagun, or Tamagun. In the examples given herewith, fire represents the mode of goodness. One can understand constitutions of the container of wood, petrol, or other inflammable substance by the quantity of the fire. Similarly, water represents Rajagun, the mode of passion. A small skin and a vast Atlantic Ocean both contain water, but by seeing the quantity of water in the container, one can understand the size of the container. The sky represents the mode of ignorance. The sky is present in small earthen pot and also in outer space. Thus, by proper judgment, one can see who is a devata or a demigod and who is an asura, yaksha or rakshasha, according to the quantities of sattvagun, rajagun, and tamagun. One cannot judge whether a person is a devata, an asura, or a rakshasha by seeing him, but a saint. One cannot judge whether a person is a devata, or an asura, or a rakshasha by seeing him, but a sane man can understand this by the activities such a person performs. A general description is given in the Padma Purana. Vishnu Bhakti Smato Deva Asursa Deva Asursa Tad Viparayaya. A devotee of Lord Vishnu is a demigod, whereas the Asura or the Yaksha is just the opposite. An Asura is not a devotee of the Lord Vishnu. Instead of his sense gratification, he is a devotee of the demigods, Bhutas, Pretyas, and so on. Thus one can judge who is a Devata, who is a Rakshasha, and who is an Asura by how they conduct their activities. The word Atmanam in this verse means Paramatmanam. The Paramatma or super soul is situated in the core of everyone's heart, Antyatya. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18:61. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hirdayesha Arjun Tishtati. The Ishvara, the Supreme Person of Godhead, being situated in everyone's hearts, gives direction to everyone in terms of one's capabilities in taking the instructions. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita are open to everyone, but some people understand them properly, whereas others understand them so improperly that they cannot even believe in the existence of Krishna, although reading Krishna's book. Although the Gita says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, indicating that Krishna spoke, they cannot understand Krishna. This is due to their misfortune or incapability, which is caused by Rajagun and Tamagun, the modes of passion and ignorance. It is because of these modes they cannot even understand Krishna, whereas an advanced devotee like Arjuna understands him and glorifies him, saying Param Brahma Param Dham Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. You are the Supreme Brahman and the Supreme Abode and Purifier. Krishna is open to everyone, but one needs the capability to understand him. Last paragraph here. Focus up. Let's go. We can do it. By external features, one can understand who is favorable by Krishna and who is not. According to one's attitude, Krishna becomes one's direct advisor. Or Krishna becomes unknown. This is not Krishna's partiality. It is the response of one's ability to understand him. According to one's repetitiveness, whether one be a devata, asura, yaksha, or rakshasha, Krishna's quality is proportionately exhibited. This proportionate exhibition of Krishna's power is misunderstood by less intelligent men to be Krishna's partiality. But actually it is no such thing. Krishna is equal to everyone, and according to one's ability to receive the favor of Krishna, one advances in Krishna consciousness. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur gives a practical example in this connection. In the sky there are many luminaries. At night, even in darkness, the moon is extremely brilliant and can be directly perceived. The sun is also extremely brilliant. When covered by clouds, however, these luminaries are not distinctly visible. Similarly, the more one advances in Sattva-gun, the more his brilliance is exhibited by devotional service. But the more one is covered by Rajagun or Tamagun, the less visible his brilliance, for he is covered by these qualities. The visibility of one's qualities does not depend on the personality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is due to various coverings in different proportions. Thus, one can understand how far he is advanced in terms of Sattvagun and how much he is covered by Rajagun and Tamagun. Whew! Haribol. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay. Dustin, would you mind grabbing this mic right here? And I'll ask. This is a long purport. What struck you? Anything struck you in particularly, Dustin?
What was that part in the beginning? It said, I'm a spark of splendor. Yeah.
Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring but a spark of my splendor. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Krishna resides in everything.
Krishna resides in everything. Any other points?
I found it interesting how Srila Prabhupada said that the devotees of Lord Vishnu are devatas, they're demigods, and then the rakshasas and the demons, they're devotees of certain demigods, and also the ghosts and the spirits and things like that. And so I found it interesting that you almost always have to be a devotee of something. You know, there's like there's no non-devotees. It's just, who are you a devotee of? Are you a devotee of the president? Are you a devotee of your boss? Are you a devotee of the ghosts? Are you a devotee of, different things?
Oh, great point. Who's your Krishna? Who are you substituting for Krishna? Or are you going to Krishna, right? I mean, this is like such an important part of our understanding is that we either are in the hands of Maya or the hands of Krishna, right? Who's controlling us, right? Who's our control? And illusion, Maya, is that something separate from Krishna, right? So as devotees, we're understanding Krishna as the supreme, and therefore we become completely dependent on him, right? And then our devotional service, our devotee nature is there. Thank you, Drista. Very good point. Mother Tammy. Hare Krishna. Oh no.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I appreciated the fact that the part where it talks about that you can't tell by the outside how much how much somebody is favored by Krishna, because everyone has their one-on-one with God, so no one can tell from the outside looking in what's going on between a person and Krishna.
Have any of you had that experience where you judge somebody by their external, and then you get to know a little bit more about the situation, and you go, "Whoa, I wasn't even, I was way far off there." Anybody have anything particular in their life that they can remember? Gokulananda Prabhu.
I remember a few months ago, I was chanting in the temple room, and I happened to see one wonderful senior devotee. I think she just walked in and she had the shoes on. So the immediate thought was, oh, because I'd never seen that devotee before, so I thought, there is a kind of a dilemma whether or not sometimes there are neophytes walking in, right? So on one hand, it is our duty, if somebody is not aware, to politely make them aware. On the other hand, you have to be sensitive, as to not to let them get offended.
Mm.
So the balance has to be struck properly.
Mm.
So then I didn't know what to do. So I went and approached other couple devotees in the temple room, temple president and another senior devotee. So I told them, is it okay? And then they told me, no, she has some problem in her foot. So that reminded me of another incident. Back in Mumbai, one of my senior godbrothers shared this. There was chanting session in the morning. Everybody was chanting, and this devotee, he was distracted to see another devotee sitting and chanting with his left hand, the beat bag. And he had a shawl wrapped around him. So he couldn't just resist, and finally went, why are you chanting with left hand? You're not supposed to chant with the left hand. And then he just opened his shawl. He didn't have the right arm. So, yeah.
Yeah. This is a Srila Prabhupada mentioned this in the purport, right? He says that we shouldn't think badly about Vaishnavas. We actually should give them the benefit of the doubt. We should in our own person stretch ourselves to understand, how they are performing devotional service. And so it is when we see things that we don't understand, we can be curious. It's not an offense to be curious. I don't understand that. When you walk and see somebody come in the shoes, you say, there's a duty, right? You mention that, like, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, that we, maybe this person doesn't know, So we can approach it like that with curiosity instead of a judgment. This person's bad. They don't know. They're a neophyte. All of our judgments that come forth. No, hey, usually in the temple room we come without shoes on. I was wondering if you would be willing to take your shoes off. No, I don't take off my shoes because of this. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Good, there doesn't have to be the ego challenge, right? So I heard from another devotee that they were in the temple room and they were doing kirtan, and this never mind, I'm not going to use that. I just thought about where it goes. Let's not go there. Yeah. Anyways, I was going to try to remain confidential, I guess you could say, and there's just a situation, but it'd be very obvious once I started to go into the conversation about some of the characters in this story. Well, I'll tell you about one of my experiences when I first started coming around Dallas Yatra. There's some people. I had a particularly tough time with a specific devotee, and I thought that this devotee was very sharp sometimes with their interactions. And so I was like, it kind of disturbed me. And so over some time, though, I really wanted to be in this yatra, and I knew that I needed to overcome this, this thought of that this person, I wanted to see them in a positive light. And I knew it was there, but I just needed to work on this. So eventually I came to the point where I thought, this person, this devotee, really just wants everything to be perfect for Srila Prabhupada. And that's what drives them. Sometimes I don't necessarily agree with maybe how that looks or how that's performed. But once I was able to adjust my perception that that's all they wanted is just Srila Prabhupada to be happy, and therefore they were willing to go to the extremes that they did. And I'll tell you, after I did that, my whole relationship with them changed. When they were a little sharp with me, and you could say, I thought, wow, this is what they, this is their desire for things to be perfect for Srila Prabhupada. And I was able to thank them. Thank you for, helping me to make adjustments. So this is a very, very keen, very important lesson as Vaishnavas, that we don't need to go to judgment of bad, good, these things, enemy, We can stretch our self into thinking about how this person is serving Krishna, even if it doesn't make sense to us. Even if we don't agree that's how you serve Krishna. My spiritual master once said something very surprising to me. He said, actually, the more Krishna consciousness you get, the more you'll disagree. I was like, what? What, you'll disagree? What? I thought we all live in bliss and everybody's just the same, devotee and everybody, right? So then I was trying to understand this, and I guess I'll ask you guys, what's Krishna's favorite dessert? Cheesecake or glubjamins? One devotee's, Oh, bhakti? What is it? Bhakti. Bhakti, okay. So the bhakti dessert, I'm not familiar with the bhakti dessert, but the one devotee's arguing, no, Krishna's favorite dessert is cheesecake. And the other one's saying, no, you're a fool. Krishna's favorite dessert is glubjamins. But the truth of the matter is they're both correct. Because through bhakti, Krishna likes that person's cheesecake the most, and through bhakti, that person's glubjamins are the best, right? So our individuality starts to emerge more and more. We become Krishna conscious, and we'll have some understanding of what Krishna likes most through our devotional service. So when we see a devotee that's doing something that's not in our preview of how to serve, we can first try to say, try to get to that mood of, they're serving Krishna, and I don't understand that mood, but I know that they want to serve Krishna. Look, we're like live in a community with devotees, and we're chanting Hare Krishna. This is an extreme step towards devotional service. We couldn't even imagine what's the percentage of devotees here in just Dallas that are connected with Bhakti Yoga and Krishna. It's very small, But we get around devotees all the time, and we start to say, this is a good devotee, that's a bad devotee, because of these perceptions, right? But if we really stretch ourselves to try to understand that that devotee is serving Krishna in a way that is very special, and maybe we don't understand, at least we can be given the opportunity to ask and inquire in a way that isn't judgmental, that is a desire to really understand, right? Gokula Nanda Prabhu's situation was very beautifully explained, because he went to a desire to understand, not a desire to correct or tell this person wrong or to make judgment on him. Hey, I don't know what's going on here. Let me inquire. What's going on? And then we can get some perception better. And then, actually, if something's going on that needs to be adjusted or corrected, then at least we can do it in the right way, right? We can, okay, this person is new, right? They've never been around the temple, and they just don't know that they don't need shoes. So then we don't have to, in the temple room, we like to keep it clean. Would you be willing to? Yeah. Thank you, Gokulananda Prabhu. Anybody else with any thing in the purport that hit them? Thank you, Mother Tammy.
There is a theme in the purport that I see is very striking to me. Srila Prabhupada says, Vaishnavas, they are not envious. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is vociferously talking about, to the degree we surrender, to that degree he gets some mercy. So Krishna is impartial, but at the same time he is favorably disposed to his devotees. The analogy that comes to my mind is like the electricity supply is the same. So Krishna is impartial in the sense that he is providing all the material ingredients and facilities to everyone, but it's our choice. So just like if you have a bulb, depending upon our own capacity, 10 watts, 50 watts, 100 watts, but electricity supply is going to be neutral. It's equally supplied to all the bulbs, but depending upon the capacity to receive and emanate the light. That's how I like that. So usually misunderstanding is that Krishna is supposed to be impartial. He has to empower everyone equally. Why is he empowering someone? There is the answer given. There are 3 verses quoted by Srila Prabhupada here. And when we talk about not judging externally, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing here, we have to look at the activities of that person. What is he indulging in? So if the devotee who is constantly engaged, satatam yukta, constantly engaged in glorifying the Lord and practicing devotional service, all the 9 limbs, then he is far more advanced. And one last point, my Guru Maharaj used to always say, devotees are not envious. There may be sometimes an envy creeping in, but we should immediately counteract it by thinking how Krishna has empowered that devotee. He or she must have done something. That's how Krishna has empowered that devotee. When you think like that, immediately envy is removed and you become the recipient of the similar mercy.
You become
the recipient of the same mercy.
I really wanted to hear that. That's so important right there. That our envy will deny us bhakti. Yet if we appreciate the Vaishnava and the mercy that they're getting and that they're doing service, then we also get that mercy. That's huge. Like we can literally be parasites of other people's devotional service just by having the right attitude. I'm obviously jesting there and saying parasite. What I'm trying to say, a parasite sucks from other people's. No. Okay, I'll just. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say is that we can benefit by other people's devotional service by having the right attitude. It's said that if you want to be a happier person, just be happy about other people's happiness. Literally, your happiness just increased by so much. Oh, that person's happy. I'm so happy for them. All of a sudden, you're happy. You don't have to have your own thing that you do to be happy to enjoy somebody else's happiness. You literally increased your happiness just by appreciating somebody else, by being happy for them. So as devotees, though, we're not just trying to be happy, or we're not just trying to be we're trying to be transcendental. And so we're trying to be servants. And so when we can appreciate somebody's servants, and all of a sudden we get a taste of bhakti. It's a very amazing point. Thank you. Manjari Gopika, please.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
On that point, wonderful purport. But the part that stood out to me is the paragraph where Prabhupada says, envious persons do not accept that Krishna has bestowed his favor upon a particular devotee in accordance with his advanced position. Such foolish persons become envious and try to minimize an advanced devotee's activities. This is not Vaishnavism. A Vaishnav should appreciate the service rendered to the Lord by other Vaishnavas. And on a macro level, I was thinking about Srila Prabhupada, how in his time and also some since, there are other Vaishnav sannyasis, some of his godbrothers, who tried to minimize his accomplishment in spreading Krishna consciousness. And we can see that it's from envy, and that truly supportive God siblings will just praise any little seed of Krishna consciousness that they see. But on a micro level, I think this is also such a good reminder for us that if we hear ourselves or someone else, instead of praising an accomplishment of a devotee, adding in those factors of, they don't have a full-time job, they have this, so it makes it easier for them. It's really a wake-up call for us to pause and go, no, there are no mitigating factors here in devotional service. When someone has done something big or small for Krishna, that's what we should focus on, and not think of it's like a detraction from our lives. We should just be focused on them and what they're doing for Krishna.
thank you.
First of all, I just want to apologize for correcting you like that. Please forgive me, but you want to add something to what they said?
I do. Thank you, Mother Kunti. There's no need to apologize. I actually appreciated it because I did need to adjust that word, so thank you so much. Manjur Gopika, I wanted to say thank you that your mention of sometimes we see people's situation and we think we know what bhakti is. You didn't say this exactly, but this is what I heard, and please correct me, is we think bhakti looks like this, or we think bhakti looks like that. But the thing is bhakti is an attitude of devotional service that we do to Krishna, and so that person who is working, or this person who's that, we can't, it's in the purport also, we can't see externally. We cannot see bhakti externally. We don't know, the things that people are doing unless we get to know them in a way that we see and we hear about their, how do I say this? That we see that they're doing the things of sadhana, right? Right? But more important is that, because even people, sometimes when we do our sadhana, anyways, what I'm trying to say is that when we have a desire to get to know somebody, we hear from them about their experiences in life, and we get to know them, then we can understand their bhakti. And if we don't have that relationship to get to know them more, then really we should give the benefit of the doubt. We're here. I mean, Jai Guranga said to me yesterday, he looked at me and said, how lucky are we? And when it hit me, he said it just like I'm feeling it again. I literally started to tear up because it was like, wow, we are so lucky. Like, it's unbelievable that we are here right now. We could be doing so many things, and we're so lucky. And so therefore, we should appreciate our luck, quote unquote, the mercy of the Lord. And we should know that it's within each one of everyone here. And we should be appreciating that very much. And Mother Kunti, please. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Jan, and thank you for your gracious response. Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, Gurudev, he was often dealing with the subject of envy toward himself. He, just to suffice it to say that he was very close to Srila Prabhupada, extremely close. And Srila Prabhupada defended him numerous occasions. So what Gurudev actually said one time that made sense to a lot of us, because we could not deal with, the death threats and the whole 9 yards of the politics and everything. He said, actually, envy is misplaced grief. It's misplaced grief. So grief that is unexpressed or misdirected. So that really was a huge stepping stone for a lot of devotees. And many devotees that were having trouble dealing with him, having him as a friend and as a godbrother. So that really opened up a floodgate of love. And that was really nice, because the last 10 years of his stay on this earth, he had some very rich and close godbrothers and godsisters coming forward and wanting to rekindle that friendship and that brotherhood, sisterhood. Jai Prabhupada.
When I was hearing this, I was thinking about, I've heard an expression once that that envy or these things like this can be a tragic expression for a need. Right? We need love. We need care. We need a personal relationship. And so when we see it in other people, our tendency becomes envy, right? But really it's a need for connection like that person's getting. And so as Vaishnavas we can, and this is what I was, please correct me if I'm off, but I was kind of seeing this perception from Tamal Krishna Goswami that the compassion is amplified when you see somebody envious to you. Wow, this person has a need that's not being fulfilled, and therefore they're actually, they might not know how to express it in a healthy way, right? By the way, I'm not saying he said this, but I'm just saying in our situations, right? They might not know how to express their need. So often what we do is we go to a default of envy. I want that thing that you want. I need it. So then as Vaishnavas, we can go, when I see envy, wow, how fortunate I am to see this envy, because this person is telling me this is what they need, and I can serve them. I can try to serve them, right? We can try to serve them as best as possible. Maybe we even pray for them. Hey, Krishna, I can see that this person has a need for personal connection. They might be upset that I have this personal connection. Dina Bandhu Prabhu called me over the other day, and I got to talk to him. And let's just say there could have been some people that saw that and say, Nanda-braja, why does he get to? And if I saw that, I could be like, wow. I was speculating. Never mind. What I was trying to say is that I got a moment with Dina Bandhu Prabhu, and I'm saying that some people could look at that, and even to one's face could be like envious of it, like you got this personal time. And so that envy comes from a desire to also get that person time. So if I was to perceive that envy, by the way, I'm not saying this happening, I'm just trying to give a particular example of how we can think as Vaishnavas, that I can say, wow, this person really wants personal connection too with devotees. I like that also. Man, Krishna, please give them an opportunity to get the personal connection with senior devotees that they're really desiring. And if we have a chance to do more than that, then we should try. We should try to go to the extent that we can, right? Sometimes it's not even appropriate to say anything, but we can at least pray to Krishna. I see this, Krishna, that this person really has a desire for this. Please help them with it. Please give them the need that they want. And see, if we ask Krishna to provide that need, what happens? If Krishna does do it, he does it in a way that they'll become purified. Because Krishna never does anything that is the ultimate good for somebody. So if Krishna meets that need, then even if it's, given in an envious tone, Krishna will give it and give that dose of medicine in a way that's purifying. And any last comments? So, thank you all for this discussion. This long purport had me a little bit baffled in so many different ways to go. And eventually I said, you know what? I want to hear which way you guys want to take it. And so I appreciate these points that you all heard in this purport. And I was seeing a thread of how Krishna is giving each person their own situation, and that situation can be used for bhakti or for something else, right? And as devotees, though, we're interested in the bhakti, and therefore to keep envy away and to really uplift our bhakti, then we can really try to appreciate Vaishnavas. We can really try to appreciate each other, and we can keep envy away with that appreciation, right? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sridhar Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakal Jai, Krishna House, Vanchikopa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Antikoti Vaishnava Vrindiki Jai. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.